To order by roll call, say your name.
Mike Seifert here.
Tony Majors here.
Mary Mack here.
Charles Davis here.
Ralph Taylor here.
Sister Paula Rose here.
Brian Keeley here.
Looks like we have everyone here. The meeting is called to order. Second item on the agenda. Thanks for the pen, by the way. A vote to approve or disapprove the March 11th, 2024 meeting minutes. Do I have a vote or a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
I have a second. I have a motion and I have a second. All in favor say aye by your name and your vote.
Mike Seifert, aye.
Tony Majors, aye.
Mary Mack, aye.
Charles Davis, aye.
Ralph Taylor, aye.
Sister Paula Rose, aye.
Brian Keeley, aye.
Motion carries. Vote approves the meeting minutes for the March 11th, 2024 minutes. And I turn it over to you.
Well, we would want you to open the public hearing to be able to accept comment of approval or disapproval of this annual action plan, the 2024 annual action plan. Despite the fact that we do not have anybody in the audience, still has to be opened and closed.
Do I have to do that by a motion and
Yes, sir.
a, okay.
I move to open the public hearing.
A second.
I have a motion to open the public hearing and a second. All in favor say aye by vote in your name.
Mike Seifert, aye.
Tony Majors, aye.
Mary Mack, aye.
Charles Davis, aye.
Ralph Taylor, aye.
Sister Paula Rose, aye.
Brian Keeley, aye.
Motion carries. The public hearing is open. Comments accepted to approve or disapprove of the CDBG 2024-2025 Annual Action Plan.
And we'll just go on the record by advising that there is nobody here in the audience. I also did not receive any emails, any phone calls. This was put in the newspaper to advertise. It was put on the city website. There was a copy put at the public library. It's been shared on social media by the public information officer. We've abided by, and then some, the citizen participation plan to make this available for everybody, and it's been posted up for over 30 days now. And there's nobody here on record. I apologize for a comment.
Mr. Chairman, I move to close the public hearing for the CDBG 2024-25 Annual Action Plan.
A second.
I have a motion to close the public hearing. I have a second. All in favor say aye and your name, or your vote and your name.
Mike Seifert, aye.
Tony Majors, aye.
Mary Mack, aye.
Charles Davis, aye.
Ralph Taylor, aye.
Sister Paula Rose, aye.
Brian Keeley, aye.
Motion carries. The public hearing is now closed. Now I will turn it over to you.
Okay. So I wish I could say I had all this fun new information to be able to share with you, but I really don't right now. This is an action plan for the 2024 year, 25 years, so it's July 1, 2024 through June 30th, 2025. And I say that I don't have anything new and exciting to share other than the fact that we are mimicking the plans that we have had in place. They're not too off kilter from what we have been doing. From a financial aspect, we are utilizing projected numbers. So we are utilizing a projected number of $340,093 right now. That's because HUD has not announced our entitlement. When they do, I conveniently had highlighted in green when I emailed you and today your copies that you have. I had highlighted the figures that I know would change and all of the items that I know for sure would be updated when we had our exact amount announced. Last year they had announced it in February, but we still do not have that number announced. So we are working on projected numbers right now. So the latest that this annual action plan could be submitted to HUD is 45 days before the beginning of the grant year. So that puts us at like the third week of May, I believe. So having said that, I'll we don't want to submit it until we have the actual figures. So we'll be holding this after, hopefully you approve the plan today. It would then go to city commission for approval or disapproval, which they do weigh heavily upon what this board has to say about it. And then we get permission to then submit to HUD. And of course, that's why we get this done early, so that we are poised and ready, so that when they do have those figures to us, we can update those figures. We've been utilizing the pro rata. We've been utilizing pro rata as a manner of which to spread the funds whenever we're working with projected numbers. And thankfully for us here in Leavenworth, we're not really going to be doing any practices differently, because we were already kind of operating by pro rata whenever working with projected figures. So we just need to be making sure, because HUD has made sure that they wanted us to be very specific in our publications in the newspaper and inside of this plan, and when voting, that's the exact verbiage on how we're going to do, which, as you know, by looking at that on 5A on your agenda, that's basically the definition of pro rata. So basically, we're just going to be equally proportionately, according to these projected numbers, right, utilizing the figures to percentage-wise share cross. So, and I apologize, I don't want to go into over-explaining that. If you have any questions about that, please let me know. I did put together a synopsis so that you can see that for the 24-25 year. You'll see that the public service agencies, it may feel like to you by looking at the lower amount of CDBG funds to them is different than last year. Overall, we're not expecting overall for public service agency funding to be lower, but there are more people, right? So then it has to be less. We can only use 15% of the entitlement on public service agencies. And we always make sure that we max that out. So it'll definitely be the 15%. So again, these are projected figures that we're utilizing. We will not be submitting the annual action plan to HUD with these projected figures. We'll be holding on to it. We would have another 60-day extension if for some reason the projected the entitlement figure was not given to us by that 45th day before the beginning of the program year. We won't need to utilize that. This wouldn't even take me a day to go in and update and configure this, probably about 5 minutes to update that information. So we still have the same goals that we were doing before. I didn't want to change anything that did not appear to be broken regarding home repair, home ownership, those things. And you're going to get the consolidated annual performance evaluation report in September, where there will be lots of room to criticize, what our outcomes were, what you want to see in the future, those kinds of things. And basically everything is about the same. The only greater financial difference is demos, removal of dangerous structures. The Director of Community Development Julie Hurley has advised me that we more than likely will not be utilizing CDBG funds for removal of dangerous structures. This leads me to believe that she has budgeted for that. So I do have, we do have some remaining funds from previous years on demos if we need to use them, but I didn't plan for a lot of that. So I only put a figure of 15,000 in there so that we can spend more on infrastructure, which is part of neighborhood stabilization. Hence, that's going to give us more opportunity when we get some of the results back from Vision Zero for the sidewalk projects and what have you. So having said that, I am gonna go with the idea that you have had a chance to look through all of this. If you have any specific questions, I would love to answer your questions if you have them. This is also the third year of our 5-year consolidated plan too.
So has the new plan for Plan Zero been published? I thought you'd given us a location the last time a week ago. Find it.
For Vision Zero?
Yeah, for Vision.
You can get that on the city's website. And so if you go to the leavenworthcast.org, right there on the very first page, when you pull up, if you scroll down, you'll see a Vision Zero link. If you don't find that, please give me a call. I will send you a direct link to that. I know that they're still taking, I don't want to misspeak. There is a date still put out there, but for quite a while, they're still taking information. Because it will not be until this fall that reports will be available for us to be able to see where we could focus on. Otherwise, right now at the moment, we are gonna be looking, we're gonna be focused on the opportunity zone in the northeast section of the city. Like right now, for this year, Dakota from Cheyenne Curve to Fourth is what some CDBG funds are being utilized for an infrastructure project this year. Because it is just such a great need in that portion of the city, and there's just no reason not to be utilizing that area. But Vision Zero results will help us confirm, or maybe we need to move to a certain area, wherever people are feeling like it's needed the most.
Were the CDC funds, up on, where's the St. Vincent Clinic at? Dakota? They did the north and south prior to them starting this, other project going, not north and south, but east and west, prior to them going north and south. My concern was, why didn't they go ahead and complete right there in front of the, St. Vincent Clinic on 7th Street, which is going north and south? First they did the east and west, and then they somehow, I don't know, I guess they was waiting on more funds. Now they completed the, north and south sidewalks.
I want to be careful before I speak about that, because there's also CIP funds that are being utilized and other funds that I do not administer.
Okay.
I can tell you that the reason that we did that section right there where we were at was because we, CDBG funds jumped in on a smaller project in order to execute using the funds where there was a great high need right now at the moment. I would really have to refer to the city website, the city manager, and Public Works to determine why we did or did not continue to do more, why that project wasn't bigger, really wasn't involved in the direct plans, as opposed to we jumped in an opportunity to be able to spend CDBG funds in a compliant area that needed it.
Understand.
So there's a lot of sidewalk projects and a lot of street projects and whatnot that go on. If you have any specific ones that you want to know some details about, I will find out for you. I can tell you that the Public Works Department did ask me, hey, can we just start crossing the street and go forward? And I was like, no, please. And I just really appreciate that department working well with myself that administers these federal funds, because we do have regulations we have to abide by. I did have to say, no, don't start crossing the street and going more, because we did not have an environmental review that was completed, which is a federal requirement and regulation we can't just continue to go further.
Understand.
We have to be absolutely exact. If we say we're only gonna go so many feet into this street or just to this particular point on a sidewalk, it's not compliant to go outside of that. So for whatever it's worth, I know they wanted to continue going across the street, and I said, oh, I can't because these CDBG funds are involved, and we didn't advise of it.
Fair enough.
Would you all like me to notify you when the actual figure does come?
Absolutely.
I'll make sure that I do that. That way you can see it, and also another thing that will happen when that happens is I will be updating this annual action plan and also posting it up on the city's website. So I'm really expecting to be hearing from HUD at any point, any day, of what the figure is going to be.
That was
So,
my next question.
yeah, we don't know. Last year, they told us February 27th, I believe, 2023, they announced what entitlement was gonna be, and we still don't know. I looked again this morning to see, and it's not announced yet.
In the past, it hadn't been uncommon anywhere from February till September.
Yeah, exactly. And, yeah, there are other things like the HUD income limit guidelines and all of those. I don't have exact dates of figures.
Not like there's a community buzz, like, have you heard anything? It's not-
Oh, yeah.
Literally gets put in there at one time, so you don't have the resources to reach out to see what the word on the street is, right?
Well, yeah, we definitely do it. My counterparts in other cities, we're calling and asking each other, what did your HUD rep say and what's yours saying? Yeah, we definitely do that, and we just don't know yet.
That's funny.
It's a pretty hot thing. Last year, I got a phone call at 3:00 in the morning. I see it. So,
Okay, it's not that
I was all
scary.
excited. It is for us.
Yeah, we're funded.
Well,
Eyes on
I suppose that has to do with your salary a little bit, so you're like, okay.
Oh, actually,
No,
no.
then you're good.
Administration can't go beyond 20% of an entitlement, and, my salary is less than what, 20% would be, so.
Oh, well, I hope you don't get a 3:00 phone call.
You don't have
It's
to call
exciting
me.
news.
Yeah, please do not call us.
I won't, I'll
Thank you.
email you.
Does anybody else have does anybody else want any more time to look at the, review the packet or anything?
That's good.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the 2024-25 annual action plan with that A provision on there. What, pro rata? A Latin term I'm not familiar with. So I move to approve with the provision A on there.
So you approve, or you move to approve and present? Mike?
Yes, and present, I'm sorry, yes.
Okay, I second.
Okay. So I have a move to approve and present. All in favor, or cast your vote in your name?
Mike Suford, aye.
Tony Majors, aye.
Mary Mack, aye.
Charles Davis, aye.
Ralph Taylor, aye.
Sister Paula Rose, aye.
Brian Keely, aye.
The vote to approve and present the 2024-25 annual action plan to the city commission on the 23rd of April for approval of submission to HUD is approved.
And, I have no other matters or correspondence other than, we will, definitely be meeting in September for the CAPER. I'm gonna be pretty critical about this year's CAPER and evaluating it. I am getting a new CPD HUD rep. So I will be looking forward to a different, fresh set of eyes to also help me criticize the way that funds are used, or how we're going to be dispersing them. And that's not because I'm concerned that we have been doing anything wrong, but it's always a nice opportunity for, like I said, fresh eyes, different ideas or what have you. And so if there's anything like that to change, or maybe something that I learned from the new CPD rep that'll make things better, I'll definitely be presenting that to you in September. Definitely be doing that in September, which will be a really good time to discuss those things if we are going to make changes and substantial amendments, because that will be, the report for the 2023 grant year that will show what our goals were, did we meet those goals or whatnot. So it'd be a good time to discuss that right at the moment where you're approving or disapproving of the CAPER, so. And that is all that I have.
I have an inquiry.
Yeah.
Are we keeping all our balances below the, 150% standard? I mean,
I'm not following you.
well, I mean, I see infrastructure, you said, dangerous structures.
Oh,
Is there an excess amount there that we aren't spending down, or are we keeping I mean, is the home repair and first-time home buyer programs keeping their balances used up?
I mean, really, for the most part, we are staggering behind by about a year or year and a half, if you will. We're expending well. I think a lot of this is going to be answered very much for you on the CAPER, and if you have a certain activity, I can definitely get you those responses. I think I understand what you're asking. You're wanting to know, do we have a lot of remaining funds that are just sitting there doing nothing?
Yes.
Well, here's the great thing about that. You all voted to go pro rata starting the 2022 consolidated plan, right? So any remaining funds that we had, which we maximize public service agency, okay? So that one is just a definite, because there's no reason to, not do that. So we did pro rata with all those remaining funds to start out with a 5-year plan. Let's say there's $40,000 left over in home repair for one grant year of funds, and that didn't get used at the end of the year. It gets put into this next program year, so you're not losing it from that. Our citizen participation plan advises that I can move around up to 50% from what you voted on, but I don't do that, and it stays in there. So we do have residual funds, if you will. They will get used, and they're staying in that category, and they're not being moved without talking to you. It's understandable to know that, we could maybe move a couple of thousand if we had to, but I have no reason not to be communicating that with you or telling you about it. And like I said, the citizen participation plan would prevent me from completely changing everything that you voted on. So the CAPER is a good a good place for you to get that full amount, and I'll be more than happy if you want to come to the office sometime and you want to see all those figures. I'll be more than happy, which hence is another reason why I'm kind of excited. I have appreciated the work that I have done with my current CPD rep, but it's always nice to get a new one for some fresh eyes for that. But this also has to do with why I wanted to do an infrastructure project every year, to be spending those funds so that they don't accumulate.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. That's all I have.
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn with our next meeting expected to be 9/9/24.
I second.
I have a motion to adjourn, I have a second, all in favor, please say your vote with your name.
Mike Sufert, aye.
Tony Majors, aye.
Mary Mack, aye.
Charles Davis, aye.
Ralph Taylor, aye.
Sister Paula Rose, aye.
Brian Keely, I really want to say nay, but I'll say aye.
Stay as long as you like.
Motion carries, we are adjourned.
You gotta go back to work.
Yeah.